My name is Aisha. Welcome to One Elder Speaks. You know, I said I was going to come back and talk to you guys about that Jezebel energy once I unraveled it a little bit. And so I'd like to go ahead and get that going. To recap the other video, over a year, maybe a year and a half ago, I kind of decided to break with a whole bunch of people and get away. My family was going through a lot. And it seemed like a good idea at the time, and I needed to reevaluate a few things. And that was good. I needed that break because I needed to know what was important to me and, kind of look at things from a different perspective. And when I came back from that hiatus and started hanging with a new social group, I could see what I was doing in my brain. I was and this wasn't the initial meeting, but this was kind of a ways in. And I was setting up hierarchies and making up stories in my head about these people. This is very interesting because I was like observing it this time instead of just, doing it without thinking. And I was setting up, like I said, hierarchies, like this person is judgments. This person is this way, that person is that way. They're like this, like that, blah, 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 la, la, la. And I thought, what are you doing? And so I just kind of shelved the uncomfortableness that I was feeling at the time. And I went out to the lake, and I walked around, and I was like, so what was that all about? I walked around for a little bit, and it kind of came to me, and it said, my spirits, basically, they just said, basically, you have a Jezebel spirit. And I was like, well, shit. I didn't want to admit to that, but honestly, I had always fallen for people who either already had somebody or just didn't want anything to do with me. So it was always, wanting what doesn't want you, type of thing. And I had already been regressed to or had a flashback from another lifetime where that's exactly what I was doing, and it felt very, it felt very like I'd done it a lot over a lot of lifetimes. But at the time, I didn't want to admit to it, and I decided that I would follow the thinking back. Where does that Jezebel energy come from? And once I thought that thinking back, that energy, that thinking originated in, oh, you have so much and I don't have anything. So, and I was like, oh, that's the energy of a thief right there. And that's even less flattering, by the way. But it was interesting. That actually shocked me. I wasn't expecting that. So I thought, well, let's take it back. What's the thinking behind the thief? Well, that's hierarchies. That's thinking that these people have so much and I have so little, or I'm better than these people, but these people are better than me. This is setting up hierarchies in the mind and judgments and stories. And I know that one of the things that I'm doing here is eradicating hierarchies, or trying to eradicate hierarchies so that I can meet everybody on an even playing field, on an even energy. And so I knew that this hierarchical thinking, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, was also associated with the original wounding of human beings, which is colonization. Because who told you were naked? Well, when the aliens came down and showed me all their pretty toys, I felt pretty shameful that I wasn't better than what I was. And of course they were gods and I was nothing, basically. So that's the original wound. So the hierarchical thinking is something that was set up with the colonization. And so once we can get away from that kind of thinking, we can start to live a different kind of life. So, I I found that to be pretty interesting, and I decided that I was going to have to unravel it quite a bit because there had obviously been a lot that I had not really touched on in my life, in my belief systems, in my thinking, in my habit patterns, behavior patterns. And so a while later, uh, a little bit more information was revealed to me about my own personal journey. But one thing that Spirit said to me is no longer a beggar, no longer a thief. The reason they gave me this information is because it's time for me to step out of that whole I have less, please help me, or, I'm not good enough, I need your assistance. I was very stuck in codependent thinking, and I still am. I mean, I think it's one of those alcoholic things where you're like, hi, my name is Aisha, and I'm codependent, for the rest of your life, and they go, hi, Aisha, and everybody drinks coffee. I mean, so these are things that I'm going to be working on for the rest of my life, I'm sure. But the importance of the Jezebel Spirit, recognition of the Jezebel Spirit, recognition of codependent behaviors and thinking. All this it's because I learned a long time ago where your thinking is, it's where your emotions are. And that's where your habits, your behavioral habits are. And it is my intention in this lifetime to be able to just meet everybody as an equal. Now, another thing that I wasn't aware of, that I can be quite rude and mean sometimes. And that is not really okay. But it's hierarchical thinking. It's thinking that I'm better than somebody, or I'm the customer, or, I'm in a better position and you need to, and it's like, no. So that's what needs to be addressed. And I wanted to revisit this because it's now time for me to step out of that energy, and it's probably time for all of us to step out of this hierarchical thinking. I'm like, quit looking at these rich people thinking that they're going to save you. They have no intention of doing so, and as a matter of fact, they'll just bleed you dry for the rest of your life and give zero fucks about it. That's what they do. That's how they get rich, So if you're looking for Elon Musk or Donald Trump or any Bill Gates, to save the world, no. It's going to be us. It's going to be us stepping out of our hierarchical mind and going, wait a minute, excuse me, but X, Y, and Z, and none of this makes you look good, and none of this helps any of us. And in some way, you have divided yourself from the rest of the collective, and so have we. And it's time that we get back to one another. You can't make bank off of my misery. I mean, there are consequences to that. You can do it. There are consequences. It may not be immediate consequences, but there are consequences. But if we are to wipe and rid ourselves of the colonization wound, the original wound, and the original sin, which was shame, if we're going to wipe ourselves away of all this, we have to meet each other as equals. You have to see me as your equal, and I have to see you as mine. And then we have to be kind to one another, which is not my forte either, but I'm getting there. I'll get there. Hopefully. I got another 20 years probably to get this stuff straight, and then there'll be something else. So there's how that works. So anyway, try to recognize your hierarchical mind. See it for what it is. It's a wound. Know that there is no shame. We were conceived in love at the beginning of the universe. And anything that we carry that is not love is baggage. And we don't need it. I really appreciate this forum, for me as well as for you, for me to voice these things, I'm hoping that if somebody else is doing the same thing, is recognizing the same issues, is having to deal with some of the stuff, I'm hopeful that this information will help you. I don't want to walk this trip alone, man. I really don't. I have gained wisdom and knowledge and information from others who have done the same, who have opened up and just said, hey, this is my story. And there's absolutely will be no healing unless we are willing to look at ourselves and then own our behaviors and own the thinking that's behind the behaviors, and then say, how can I fix this? What can I do to walking forward? I need you guys to wish me luck. I need it. And I'll be praying for all of us to rid ourselves of hierarchical thinking and to quit venerating those who do not deserve it, and to come together as a collective. I mean, I think that's the only way we're going to make it, right? Okay. Yeah. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.